Hey, this is Louise Clear. A curious conversation about sex magic, and more specifically about self-sex magic, or self-pleasure for sex magic, and self-pleasure sex magic on aeroplanes. I've been traveling a wee bit over the last few months and casually chatting with people about how this is a practice that I use myself and how it's a practice that brings about very powerful results, this self-pleasure sex magic on aeroplanes specifically. And a lot of people have been very curious about this, so I thought I'd share a little bit more about it in a video so that you can understand what it is I'm talking about, and for those travelers amongst us to be able to really use this spiritual practice for your own powerful benefits, your own ability to powerfully manifest. So starting with sex magic, in summary, it's a spiritual practice where we use the power of our desire, the power of our erotic life force energy, and sometimes the power of our orgasmic energy as well, to manifest in the physical realm. We use intention with lovemaking, we use intention with self-pleasure, and use the building energy that's being created through the self-pleasure or through the sexual experience to then be pushed out into the world intentionally to fulfill our manifestations, to fulfill our desires in tangible form. So the key elements around sex magic are, one, being super intentional, being super clear around what it is we're seeking to manifest with our self-pleasure, with our sex, with a partner or partners, and two, really focusing on building the sexual desire and sexual energy and using it, sending it out into the world for the intention and purpose of manifesting what we're calling in. So for me, what I tend to do is get really clear before initiating sexual contact or self-pleasure when it's using sex magic, getting really clear on what it is I'm wanting to manifest. So I might even have a paragraph or two paragraphs, or it might be one sentence or a couple of key words, like you would if you're wanting to manifest anything in life. So getting super clear, holding that intention, and then as the erotic energy builds, really starting to call that intention into mind. And when I'm doing my own sex magic self-pleasure ritual, I might have my diary or journal nearby, and I'll actually be reading through the statements that I've made or the intention that I've made while keeping my sexual energy active and moving in my body. So that's sex magic in a nutshell, and self-pleasure sex magic is basically working with one's own body, one's own erotic system to generate energy, and using that energy for the cultivation and creation of dream manifestation. So again, being super clear on what it is your intention is, why you're doing the sex magic self-pleasure practice, and what are the outcomes that you desire from that. And the clearer that you can be on those outcomes, like any manifestations, then the clearer you can be on the achievement and success of those. And it can include orgasm or not. For me, it doesn't seem to matter too much, because I can have a huge amount of erotic energy moving in my body without having an orgasm, and that feels very complete for me. For some people, using orgasm is sort of the ultimate cultivation of erotic energy, so they like to work with orgasm. For me, it's neither here nor there. I'm not too fussed on that, and I've found that the results are just as powerful whether I do or don't. Working as a tantric practitioner, I move my own energy through my system up and down and orbit it through my system, so having an orgasm is not really necessary to feel the success of the cultivation of much erotic life force energy in my system. So that's the self-pleasure aspect of it. And then the next step is using it on aeroplanes. So with each different land, each different country or state or island that we travel to, there's a different transmission, a different energy that we receive from the land. And when we're traveling, we're actually above the landmass, so we're in the air. So it's quite a different realm to be working with manifestation in, because we're not actually anchored to the earth, we're really more closer to the spiritual realms. So there's something about also being in transition from one land to the other, which to me creates a real potent portal to manifest. So it's kind of like we're elevated above the earth and working in the realm of the sky, and there is this transitory piece. So shamanically we can work with transitions, we can work with bridges or gateways or keyholes, access points to different realms. And for me, when I'm flying, when I'm literally above the earth in the air, it creates such a potent shamanic portal that utilizing that for sex magic it's like I've manifested a whole year's worth of desires and dreams in one sex magic session, and the session may be 5 minutes long. I'm not talking about having to be doing sex magic for the whole 10-15 hour flight. Last year when I returned to New Zealand, actually no, it's to Bali from Israel, I did some sex magic on the plane because I had these downloads coming through and I had this real clarity of vision, and it was a very short practice, and I manifested an entire year's worth of dreams and visions from that one session. So there's something particularly potent about doing it from the sky, from being in an aeroplane, not on the earth. So I really recommend that you try that. I haven't done it on the sea, but my guess is that it would be really potent as well, working with the different elements. And sex magic is a spiritual practice, so if you bring in the shamanic aspect of it and work with the elements, work with the different altered states, being in the air and being in that transitory position between one land and another, between home and visitor, between origin and destination, shamanically there's so much potency in those places when we're between one and another, and what can be accessed in that in conjunction with the erotic sexual energy of the sex magic. And the intention is really the ability to harness that gateway. There's a plane overhead, I'm not sure if you can hear me. So when in an aeroplane, and especially if you're coming from one place to another and you've got some real clarity and some downloads of your vision in that journey, then really anchoring that in your system through self-pleasure, sex magic. So for me, when I've just come back recently from a trip and used sex magic on the plane, got a couple of paragraphs really clear around 2 key things that I'm wanting to manifest in my life, started activating my own erotic life force energy, being mindful that there's people around me. I'm not probably making as much sound or movement as I would typically when I'm on my own, but still being able to really activate and cultivate my erotic energy within my own system, moving it, circulating it, and then when the energy's feeling quite potent, really just bringing those 2 key things to mind, rereading what I've written down, bringing that intention to the pleasuring exercise itself, and really just sending that erotic energy out with my intention, out to the world, out to the universe to manifest, and then really just anchoring that and landing that in my system and trusting and believing that that's going to come to be. I haven't done partner sex magic on an aeroplane yet. I haven't joined the Mile High Club. However, working with a lover and working with combined eros is extremely powerful as well. So I definitely advocate for self-pleasure sex magic, and also advocate for couple or group sex magic. And it can be as simple, it doesn't have to be a big practice, it can be as simple as just setting an intention before lovemaking with your partner, and really letting that intention infuse and build as your desire and your eros builds as well. So it's a beautiful practice, and it just brings more intention, and it really allows for the utilization of our erotic life force energy. This erotic life force energy has the potential to create literal life. We can be with a partner and become pregnant and literally create life in our bodies through this energy. So it's a very powerful force that most people don't harness and utilize to the best of their capacity. So really intentionally notice the building of this energy and how you're sending it out into the world. That includes non-ejaculation and ejaculation practices as well, especially if you're working with orgasm and ejaculation. Like, there's so much potency and so much power in that energy that is being created, and it's a waste not to really harness that and use it with intention. So set your intention, get clear on what you're wanting to create and manifest, build the life force, the energy, the desire, the eros, bring in that intention again, reinforce that, and as the energy builds, really imagine that intention being sent out into the universe for creation, and then see what happens. Sit back and wait and see how your desires are manifested through utilizing your own self-pleasure and your own sexual energy. I'd love to hear how this sits for you, how this goes for you, if this is a practice that you're currently using or have used. For me, it's one of the most potent ways of really manifesting what I desire in my life, and as I said, doing it in an aeroplane in this portal of possibility between realms brings so much more potency to it, in my opinion. So I did this sex magic practice about 4 days ago on an aeroplane, and really powerfully calling in some things for myself over the next couple of months, and I'm excited to see how quickly they manifest using my erotic energy, using my intention, using the space being in the sky between lands and being above the land. So there's my share. Let me know what you think, and for all you travelers, make the most of those long flights and do your self-sex magic practice.